Thank you, Madam Clerk. Not yet. Thank you, Madam Clerk. I'll call this meeting to order. I'd like to welcome the public, my fellow council members, the media, and anyone who is joining us in person and electronically for today's Committee of the Whole meeting. I'm Councillor Prinzen from Bloomfield Hallowell, and I will be today's chair. Today's committee meeting is at Shire Hall in Picton. Today's agenda lists all the items before committee for consideration. The recommended motions on today's agenda are shown in boldface. Copies of the agenda have been posted on our website. This meeting is being live streamed, and any participation in the meeting proceedings will become part of the public record. The recording from the meeting will be live streamed on county's website and can be viewed by selecting live stream meetings on the bottom right of the county's homepage at thecounty.on.ca. Under agenda item 5, I will be asking for comments from the audience. Members of the public who wish to provide comments at future meetings can do so by contacting clerks at pecounty.on.ca to register. Today there are no registered comments from the audience, but if anyone would like to speak at this section of the agenda present at this meeting, you may do so then. A reminder that if you participate, your name will be included in the committee minutes and form part of the public record and posted to the county's website. Any motion made at this meeting is not final until the council meeting of May 23rd, 2023, at which time the council may approve, amend, defer, or otherwise change the motion made by this committee. In the event of a fire, please use the applicable exits in Shire Hall or wherever you're tuning in from. For those at Shire Hall, please remember to mute and limit use of cell phones. At this time, I will look for a motion to confirm the agenda. Mayor Ferguson, seconded by Councillor Roberts.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ferguson Roberts motion that the agenda for the Committee of the Whole meeting of May 11th, 2023 be confirmed.
All in favor? And that carries. Disclosure of pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof. Seeing none. Under number 4, deputations, we have no registered deputations. Number 5, we have no registered comments from the audience, but I have been made aware of one comment from a council member, and I will allow him to do that right now. Councillor St. Jean.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is basically an announcement with regards to this being farmers market season. This weekend is the opening weekend for the Wellington Farmers Market at the Eddy Hotel on Saturday. The market there will be host to approximately 50 vendors, open from 9 to 1:30. The Picton Farmers Market, I'm very proud to say, is opening with 40. We closed the season last year with about 35. And the market hours are 9 to 2 on Sunday, Mother's Day. So when you're taking your mother out, take her out for a stroll through the Picton Farmers Market. Support local businesses and farmers. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor St. Jean, and thank you, Council, for allowing me to allow that comment from our audience / council member. Moving on to number 6, items for consideration. Report of the Housing Department dated May 11th, 2023 regarding Queen Elizabeth School, expression of interest. So just one comment, I will have somebody put this on the floor. We will leave the councillors' names blank until we talk about it, ask questions, get all those clarified, at which time I will be running a nomination process to fill those 3 vacancies. So, Councillor Pinnell, would you like to put it on the floor?
Actually, I was wanting to ask a question.
Let's just get it on the floor first. So if somebody would like to put it on the floor. Councillor Maynard, and seconded by Councillor Pinnell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That Council receive report HD 23-2023. The Council directs staff to proceed with the issuance of an expression of interest for the scope of services and development being requested for the site. That if the county is successful in the purchase of the former Queen Elizabeth School property, 2 acres of the site be reserved for the Prince Edward County Affordable Housing Corporation for the development of affordable housing. That if the county is successful in the purchase of the former Queen Elizabeth School property, a tenant selection committee of council be established to include council representatives, community agencies, community residents, and county staff to make recommendations to council on the tenant mix of the development and on the potential sale of land related to the development. That staff report back to council on the results of the expression of interest and progress of purchase negotiations with further recommendations as required.
Thank you, Councillor Maynard. I will now open the floor up for questions. Councillor Pennell?
Yes, I just want to ensure that when it come to number 5, that the mayor, I believe, should automatically be part of that committee, not only for the term of this council. I'm certain the need housing is going to go on to future council. So just a suggestion that we include that.
Thank you, Councillor Pennell. Just to the clerk for one quick second, is he on automatically, or would he be? No, okay. Thank you. So we will, when the nominations get open, I will swing back to you for your nomination then.
Okay.
Microphone. Councillor Hirsch?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Excellent report as usual, Charles, and it's really good to see where we're heading on Queen Elizabeth School. Just one question. In the part about reserving 2 acres for the Affordable Housing Corporation, is that intended to be 2 acres of vacant land, or would that potentially include part of the building itself?
Through the chair to Councillor Hirsch, in answer to your question, the 2 acres would be vacant land. I would also add to that in addition to that, I would add, at the moment it's 2 acres for the Housing Corporation, which they've expressed an interest for the number of units that could go on that site. If it is decided and that there needs to be more units on that site, it possibly could be more than 2 acres that would be requested for the Housing Corporation, but for the purposes of the initial discussion, it is the 2 acres of vacant land.
Thank you, Charles. Councillor Nyman?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Excuse me. Charles, can you just explain the tenant selection committee? As I read through that, I was trying to figure it out. So just if I'm understanding the whole thing, we're kind of having blocks that are for, I'm going to say childcare, something else over here, something else. So what's the tenant selection committee? What's their purpose, I guess?
Through the chair to Councillor Nyman, the purpose of the tenant selection committee would be to review based on criteria and make a decision to ensure we have the proper tenant mix. We want to ensure that we don't run into the pitfall that we are over-serviced in this proposed development at the cost of residents or tenants who we are servicing, intend to service on a daily basis. So the high-level intent for this committee is review of all proponents who submit an expression of interest, with part of the criteria making a determination and selection of the right tenant mix as outlined in the report to support the overall theme of health and wellness for the community.
Quick follow-up?
Quick follow-up, go ahead.
Thank you. So if this is housing going to be part of it, I guess, so the committee then will be processing the tenants for the housing then too, or?
Through the chair to Councillor Nyman, no. The Housing Corporation, since they would be the developer and the owner of that particular parcel of land, the responsibility of tenant selection, wait list management, etc., would be done through the Housing Corporation.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Branderhorst?
So this is a fantastic read, and I encourage anyone from the public, especially community leaders, to read this because it's a really neat tenant space agreement. I want just a little bit of clarification because I think I know the answer, but I have you here, so why not ask? It's that these groups will be basically self-sufficient running for the purpose to benefit the municipality is the goal within them, correct? Like they are going to be almost an entity of themselves?
Through the chair to Councillor Branderhorst, yes, you are absolutely correct. They have to be self-supporting, and you will see in the attached criteria of the expression of interest. It's not only from a service model delivery capability, they also have to be self-supporting, both with confirmation of ongoing operating dollars as well as any capital dollars for any capital renovations they may require down the road. I think your point is very well taken, that the intent with this is that it is not being supported as far as the independent agency's operation is not being supported by the municipality.
Thank you, Charles. Councillor Pennell?
Yeah, I just wanted to go back to the point that I brought up earlier, and I wasn't suggesting that the mayor be one of the three. I'm thinking that the mayor, whoever it might be at the time that they have meetings, should in fact be the fourth person there. I think she, so I don't know how to bring that about.
Yep, we got that. We'll look for further questions to Charles, and then when we get to the committee selection, I'm sure something will come forward along those lines. So thank you, Councillor Pennell. Councillor Harrison?
Yes, this is just more of an idea than anything to run by you, but would there be any chance of accommodating in that development a space for offshore temporary workers program?
Through the chair to Councillor Harrison, part of it is developing community or common space. What that looks like at this point in time is premature, but I take note of what you're suggesting for consideration, and I think that's something as well that would be a discussion with the tenant selection committee as far as who would occupy what space that is termed community or common. But I take your suggestion.
I know I'm catching you off guard on that one.
No, but you raise a very good point, and I'm just taking note of it to ensure that something similar to either what you have said or something similar to what you've said that comes up is taken into consideration and properly discussed.
Thank you very much.
Councillor St. Jean, did I see your hand?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Chuck and Ellis, for all the work that you've done on this presentation and helping to guide us with a potential way to develop develop the site, if we're so fortunate as to get our hands on it, and to address so many of the needs that we have in our community. You know, we have a number of service delivery agencies that they could use a better space, and some of them have no space. So I think this is an excellent community-based model that this is going to work very good. So I very much appreciate all the work that you guys, the two of you, have put into this, and look forward to seeing some positive progress here. And as part of that, I'd like to say that I know Councillor McNaughton and I, knocking on doors, we heard a lot in that area of Picton. Still hearing a lot. You know, some of it concern, some of it just genuine interest. But this, I think, will address a lot of those concerns, and it's really important that we communicate, as Councillor Branderhorst said, communicate this to the entire community, particularly those residents in the area that are going, in my mind, going to be bonused by having this in their part of the community. So once again, thank you very much. I do have a kind of a sideline question for the clerk with regards to this.
Go ahead.
Madam Clerk, is it not my understanding that the mayor is an ex officio on all committees? So there may not be a necessity to specifically name the mayor there. It's expected that he attends or she attends.
Madam Clerk?
Through the chair, I'm so happy you asked that question. Because this is external and the Housing Corporation is an arm's length body of the municipality, the mayor would not be considered ex officio. So for him to have an official spot on the terms of reference, recommendation 5 would have to be amended.
And I completely support what Councillor Pennell has said.
Councillor Maynard? What? Nope, not yet.
Thank you.
is my first comment, is just thank you. This has been a long time coming, and it's really good to have, this is a good news story. And just on the tenancy, so it's my understanding that that's what we're doing is we're getting that expression of interest out so that all parties, whoever they may be, will have a chance to submit their package, and then that then will be scored and adjudicated by the selection committee along with the other partners that are listed here, community partners, staff and stuff. So I think we've got a ways to go, but this is a really good start. We'll get the expression of interest out, and we'll hope that that everything, that the rest of it, that the school board agrees to sell it to us, and that we move on. But just to the comment of who can apply, I think anybody can apply as long as they submit their expression of interest as outlined in the report.
Through the chair to Councillor Maynard, you're absolutely correct. We wanted to get this out in front fast because for the submission by proponents, there's a considerable amount of information they have to put together, and as mentioned earlier, with the confirmation of multi-year operating funding, etc., again, it gives them enough time to build their business case for the tenant selection committee to review.
Thank you, Charles. Madam CAO.
Thank you, Chair. And through to Council, I just want to make sure everyone's clear. The Tenant Selection Committee is not going to be managed by the Housing Corporation. It is the municipality. So this is a municipal site, and whatever the housing the tenancy committee comes up with would come back to council for final approval. The idea here is that some of this property could be separated and broken apart, like a piece that goes to the Housing Corporation, which they would then manage. It could be that we get a consortium of interest that has an idea that we want to bring forward, and another piece of the site could be hived off to someone else, or it could be that the municipality runs the balance of the site and leases in long-term lease situations the various components. So we're really open-minded about how this might work out based on the partnerships and ideas that come forward in the expression, but this is very much a municipally run project that would mean that we are the landlords of that land and managing it, unless or until council chooses to break off pieces and give them or sell them to anyone else. So I just want to be really clear who's managing this.
Thank you, Madam CAO, for that explanation. Mayor Ferguson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Chuck, just a question. Do you have any idea how many agencies may be interested in putting forward an expression of interest? I've had at least 5 calls from organizations that now want to move into the current structure over there. Do you have any idea how many?
Through the chair to Mayor Ferguson,
looking at?
I would echo that. If I go on my list of inquiries that I've had in meetings coming up, initial discussions, I'm up to 17 right now. So I would say we can expect 25 to 30 agencies of interest who are very interested in submitting a proposal.
Okay, just a quick follow-up. Yeah, as I mentioned to you yesterday, I just want to make sure that the purpose we're buying the property is not displaced by, the organizations. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Any further questions on this report before I start running the nomination? And before we run the nomination, Councillor Maynard, I believe you might have an amendment to the clause 5, if you have a seconder.
Yes, I'll put it on the floor, and then it's to amend clause number 5 to add the mayor as a 4th member of the tenant selection committee.
Would somebody like to second that? Councillor Pennell? I was just confirming, okay. So do you want to, we'll vote on the amendment that's on the floor now, adding the mayor as a 4th member. All in favor? Hands up, please, sorry. And that carries, thank you. All right, and now I will open the floor to nominations for the 3 positions. Councillor Brainy?
I'll nominate Councillor Branderhorst.
Okay, do you want me to, I'll just take all the nominations first and I'll go through it. Councillor Nyman?
I'll nominate Councillor Engelsdorfer.
Okay. Councillor Pennell?
I nominate Councillor Robertson.
Okay, Councillor Roberts? We'll ask if you want to stay on after.
After, okay.
Yeah, thank you. Councillor Branderhorst?
I'll nominate Councillor McNaughton.
Councillor Brainy, did you have your hand up again? Okay, thank you. Councillor Nyman?
I'll nominate Councillor Hirsch.
Any further nominations? Councillor Engelsdorfer?
I'll nominate Councillor Maynard.
Thank you. Any further nominations? Going once? Any further nominations going twice? Any further nominations going 3 times? I will ask the people in the order they were nominated for whether they would like to stay on the committee. Councillor Branderhorst?
I'd like to try and be on the committee.
So that's a yes. Okay, thank you. Councillor Engelsdorfer?
Yes, I'll...
Let your name stand. Okay, Councillor Roberts?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate the vote of support and the nomination, Councillor Pennell, but I think we can see through the nomination process that there are a lot of really engaged, passionate people standing for office in this capacity, and I will respectfully decline.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Councillor McNaughton?
Oh, yes.
We got an oh yes over there, okay. Councillor Hirsch?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will have to respectfully decline. One
okay.
more appointment, and I may not have a family anymore. So.
Councillor Maynard?
Yes, I will thank my nominator and accept.
And accept. So we have, Madam Clerk, we are blessed to have 4 names that would like to be on this committee. So would you like to do speeches and votes? Is that how we go about this, or how? I did the nominations, but I don't know how to do the rest of it. So we'll start again. Actually, I'm going to go backwards this time. Sorry, Councillor Maynard. So right now, a brief summary as to why Mayor Ferguson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have 4 very qualified people for 3 positions. Can we not amend this to include all 4 plus the mayor?
As chair, Mr. Mayor, if you'd like to put that amendment on the floor, I have to accept it. So as long as you have a seconder.
All right. Councillor St. Jean will accept.
Madam Clerk, we now have a Ferguson St. Jean motion. We accept all 4 names to be on the tenant selection committee. Questions on that motion? Councillor Nyman?
Yes, thanks, Mr. Chair. So I just want to make sure my math is correct. So after everything's told up, we're going to have 5 people on this. Is that correct?
4 plus 1 is 5. Yeah, that is correct.
Yeah, okay, so I won't be supporting that motion. I won't be supporting that motion.
Thank you for your comments. Councillor St. Jean?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think I have to agree with the mayor that the quality of the candidate speaks for itself. And having a conversation with our Director of Housing on Tuesday, I recognize that there is going to be a lot of work here. This is not a small responsibility for those that are putting their names forward, and it's one of the reasons why I chose to sit back. And as Councillor Nyman and I are both on the Housing Corporation, I know we are going to be well updated on the progress that this committee is making. So I wholeheartedly support adding that one more person because, again, we have some very qualified individuals here that I think have a lot to add to that conversation and selection. So
Thank you, Councillor St. Jean. Madam Clerk, did you have a question or comment?
Yes, through you, to make this a bit more speedy and efficient, the motion from the mayor would be that, and just correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Mayor, it would be that Councillor Branderhorst, Councillor Engelsdorfer, Councillor McNaughton, and Councillor Maynard be appointed to the tenant selection committee.
That is what I got. I was just seeing if there's any questions on the amendment, so.
Perfect.
Is there any further questions to Mayor Ferguson's amendment? And I'll actually throw my comment in as chair. I would support that too. We gotta, not only do we have qualified members, but we have a representation from across the municipality, which is very, in my eyes, very good too. And reminding that all things do have to come back through this new horseshoe. So with that, with those comments, I will call the vote. All in favor? And that carries. So now we have the main motion as amended, and I will call the vote on that. All in favor of the main motion as amended? And that carries as well. Thank you, Charles. Thank you very much. 6.2, we have a resolution by Mayor Ferguson seeking councillor support regarding homelessness. Mayor Ferguson, if you have a seconder, you're more than welcome to put that on the floor when you're ready. Can you turn your microphone on though, please?
Councillor Brainy has indicated that he will second this, so this is a Ferguson-Brainy motion and resolution that reads as follows. The Council of the Corporation of the County of Prince Edward at its meeting held May 11, 2023 adopted the following resolution. Whereas the homelessness crisis is taking a devastating toll on families and communities, undermining a healthy and prosperous Ontario, and whereas the homelessness crisis is a result of the underinvestment and poor policy choices of successive provincial governments, and whereas homelessness requires a range of housing, social service, and health solutions from government, and whereas homelessness is felt most at the level of local government and the residents that they serve, and whereas municipalities and district social administration boards are doing their part but do not have the resources, capacity, or tools to address this complex challenge, and whereas leadership and urgent action is needed from the provincial government on an emergency basis to develop, resource, and implement a comprehensive plan to prevent, reduce, and ultimately end homelessness in Ontario. Therefore, be it resolved that the Corporation of the County of Prince Edward calls on the provincial government to urgently acknowledge that homelessness in Ontario is a social, economic, and health crisis, commit to ending homelessness in Ontario, and work with AMO and a broad range of community, health, Indigenous, and economic partners to develop, resource, and implement an action plan to achieve this goal. And further, that a copy of this motion be sent to the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, the Minister of Children, Community and Social Services, the Minister of Health, and to the Association of Municipalities of Ontario. If I could provide a little context.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chair. This resolution is really something that AMO is committed to, and a number of municipalities throughout the province have adapted. So we are joining other municipalities in making this call to the provincial government. On May 9th, so 2 days ago, the CAO forwarded a report of the conference that she attended involving AMO and 500 other people concerning homelessness in Ontario. Locally, on Tuesday night, we heard loud and clear from people who were affected by homelessness, and we also endorsed unanimously our housing plan, which does also deal with homelessness as well as attainable housing. So I think and that report and the initiatives that will be undertaken by the Housing Corporation to create a shelter, a physical shelter, as well as deal with and engage with other parties who may be able to offer similar services, I think is vitally important to our community. We have an obligation to deal with this matter first on and head on, and it's becoming worse and worse and worse, and I think all of us around the horseshoe here hear that on a daily basis, and we certainly heard it in the form of those gut-wrenching 3-minute comments that were made by those affected. So I'm asking for council's support to support this this resolution that we can forward appropriately to the provincial government in the hope that they take action on a broader scale than just us as a municipality, although I'm very proud of the way we have moved this forward this week in particular. So, that's it.
Thank you, Mayor Ferguson. Is there any question? Councillor Pennell?
Yeah, I fully support it, but there's one area that I don't necessarily agree with. I certainly agree that the provincial is part of it, but I think the federal is part of it, and as well municipalities through the years have lacked in that. And that's the only wording that I'm not 100% certain that I like. But other than that, I would definitely support it. But we gotta look for money from feds too, and municipalities through groups such as this. It proves that they can do it too.
Thank you, Councillor Pennell. Councillor Roberts?
I've got coaches on either side. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a point of information and a question for the CAO. For those members of council and staff that are interested in pursuing the homelessness issue, especially as it pertains to the county and to the Quinte region, for the last few Thursdays on 99.3 County FM, there has been an incredible documentary series focusing on homelessness, and you can catch that on Thursdays, either at noon on the Grapevine or at 6 p.m. when it's repeated, and it is amazing. And it, you know, for example, today's was on Kate's Rest, which was very impressive and much endorsed by Western University and others. And anyway, Thursdays, noon, 6 p.m., 99.3, homelessness, it's really informative. My question is to the CAO. This resolution is basically a word-for-word cut and paste from the AMO resolution, template resolution that was suggested on March 20th by AMO. And it was part of a larger toolkit of initiatives that municipalities could take. It wasn't just this resolution. I'm wondering if we're looking at some of those other components. For example, AMO suggested that municipalities get engaged on social media and on their social media platforms. They had, I think, 3 or 4 suggestions for municipalities to employ on social media. I'll just read one of them because there's too many of them, but that municipality, Prince Edward County, property taxpayers do not have the resources to end homelessness. We're joining at AMO policy in asking at OnGov, the Ontario government, to invest in deeply affordable housing, income assistance, and mental health to help lift vulnerable Ontarians out of poverty. That was one of their suggestions. Are we doing that?
Madam CAO?
Through the chair to Councillor Roberts, not yet. So we're going to see how this resolution went. But you are right. This is a template stock resolution. The idea was strength in numbers. So they want the same wording repeated over and over again to kind of drill into the provincial government. And to speak to Councillor Pennell's point, I think that the reason AMO is targeting the provincial government in this space is because homelessness more clearly fits into the social service, mental health kind of crossover with housing, whereas the federal government seems to be in some of the housing stock. But there is efforts to lobby the federal government as well, and I think it's All of it has to be done, and perhaps we can talk about a future resolution that is more focused on the federal government as well. But the social media, if that is the will of council to, and certainly there's been a lot of momentum this week on some of the items we've been bringing forward, so we certainly can leverage those tools to bring the message out. Council's endorsement of the housing plan was a big part of giving us some direction on that. So I would also just say that those homelessness segments on the radio are quite good, but if you miss them, which I can never seem to do at noon, they're also available online. So you can go to the website and listen to them after the fact.
Councillor Roberts, a quick follow-up.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Unless this next suggestion is contested, could we just take it as a general direction to staff that we engage with AMO as they've suggested on the social media platforms as well?
Through the chair, yes, I'll take that as direction.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Thank you, Madam CEO. And thanks for the reminder about the homelessness. I do remember 99.3 being here, so it's just easy to forget with all the information out there. So thank you. Councillor Brainy.
Thank you, Chair Prinzen, and thank you, Mayor Ferguson, for your leadership on this, bringing this forward. After the presentations we had the other evening and some of the follow-up presentations we've had in the last couple of months, it certainly resonates with me that, and I'm sure all of us around the table, these are the kinds of issues that gave me the gumption to put my name forward to be on council. Certainly, if we can make a difference with this, which I think taking this by the horns very early, that we can make a real positive impact to ensure that we don't have this issue any longer within Prince Edward County and Quinte region. So I appreciate the fact that we're doing this early. I appreciate your leadership on this, Mayor Ferguson, to bring this forward. I think it's very timely considering the presentations that we have had in the last couple of months. Have been very, just very heart-wrenching to think that we have this issue, and hopefully we can solve this problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Brainy. Councillor Harrison.
Yes, this is more of a comment than anything, and really perhaps it's more in the affordable housing as it relates a bit to the homeless side. Something that's we're sort of overlooking in this whole thing, and I know many cases where we're losing a sort of a labor brain drain, where people do have a home or would like to have a home, and they're hardworking people and want to contribute to society, but they're moving from here, if they have some investment, selling and moving to the East Coast or North or wherever, where housing is cheaper. And that's the main reason for their move. And I find that very unfortunate, but there's sort of caught in a layer in between that is quite silent. I think we all hear it now and then on the street, but I don't know how that can be addressed in conjunction with that. But we are losing good, hard-working labor in this county. But anyway, that's just a comment.
Thank you for your comments. Any further questions to Mayor Ferguson, Councillor Brainy's resolution on the floor? Seeing none, I will call the vote. All in favor? And that carries. Thank you very much. Section 7, would somebody like to move us into the closed session? Councillor Engelsdorfer, seconded by Councillor Pennell.
It's an Engelsdorfer-Pennell motion that committee now move into closed session to consider a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board, 2 items, pursuant to Section 239C of the Municipal Act.
Thank you, Councillor Engelsdorfer. All in favor? And that carries. When the clerk gives us the nod, we will start our closed. Thank you and welcome back. We have just adjourned our closed session for today's meeting and now we're back and open. We have one motion arising out of our closed meeting. Councillor St. Jean.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a St. Jean Branderhorst motion. Very happy to make this motion. The council received report HD 25-2023 and the council resolved that a portion of the parcel of municipal land identified by roll numbers 13500, 300, 300, 8800, and 13500, 300, 300, 8900, located on Bowery Street and part of Delhi Park, Picton, as outlined in blue on the attached sketch, be declared surplus to the needs of the municipality for the purpose of divestiture in accordance with the sale and disposition bylaw 3183/2013. And that council approve the sale of a portion of the parcel of municipal land identified in roll numbers 13500, 300, 300, 8800, and 13500, 300, 300, 8900, located on Bowery Street and part of Delhi Park, Picton, to Habitat for Humanity, Prince Edward Hastings, in the amount of $31,362.90.
Thank you, Councillor St. Jean. And before I call the vote, I will give the CAO a moment to explain, I guess, how this deal is going to work. So, thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. So through to council and those listening as we come out of closed, this is an exciting opportunity and I think directly related to the county taking on an operational role as it relates to housing in supporting the Housing Corporation. And this allows us to expand the actions we can take in the housing space beyond the focus of the corporation itself. And so while the corporation to date has been very focused on rental, staff have also been engaging with other partners, including Habitat for Humanity and their interest in multi-unit ownership housing. And we found this site in our inventory and did the necessary environmental work and a real team effort across several departments in order to bring this forward. And so we're delighted that we've gotten to this point, and more details will definitely be shared with the community as we finalize the paperwork and move forward with Habitat for Humanity, should council vote yes after this.
Thank you, Madam CAO. I will now call the vote. All in favor? And that carries. Thank you. I will now look for item number 8, a motion to adjourn. Councillor Harrison, second by Councillor Branderhorst. Mr. Harrison, Councillor Harrison, could you please read that for us?
Yes, I will. This is Harrison. Sorry. This is Harrison Bander's motion that this meeting now adjourn at 2:25 p.m.
Thank you, Councillor Harrison. All in favor? And that carries. Thank you, everybody, for a good meeting.